There's a question that every self-published Catholic author fears. It is not about sales or grammar. It's much deeper than that. It's the question that kept me up at night. Is this actually Catholic? You see, I spent years researching the lives of important women from the 20th century, and yet I always had this nagging doubt that I was doing enough, until I took a deep breath and sent one email to my bishop. I knew he would answer me, but when he accepted, the feeling was not just relief. It was an incredible sense of gratitude and humility. It was the confirmation that these stories belonged right where they were. See, I've been holding on to this particular story, in my heart for a while, and today I'm going to tell it to you. My name is Wilhelm-Volpi, and I'm a Christian author and speaker. I make weekly videos to help you live your faith, stay connected with the people you love, and find the good in everyday life. Subscribe if you want to see more. When I first started researching these women, these incredible, complex 20th century Catholic figures, I was completely consumed by the weight of it. I spent months digging in, researching, really trying to get the pulse of their faith. But with every new discovery, I also had this shadow of a fear that followed me. I was terrified of getting it wrong. I did not want my first book to be the Gospel according to Laurel. I'm not an academic or a theologian, and I'm just a writer who felt a deep personal connection to these women's stories. The struggle for accuracy was not just about dates or names. It was about trying to capture the essence of their faith journey, their Catholicity. I would wake up in the middle of the night wondering if I was projecting my own modern biases onto women who lived in vastly different times. I wanted to honor their lives with total integrity, but I felt the immense pressure of being the one to tell the story. So I was constantly asking myself, am I worthy of this task? Am I the right one to be bringing this out into the world? Am I interpreting all of this correctly, or am I just seeing what I want to see? I even reached out to my bishop before that first edition went out, asking him to read it and flag anything that gave him pause or concern. Bishop Taylor was incredibly encouraging, actually, telling me that he was excited to see the good fruits that might come from this book. And his support gave me a lot of peace, even as I continued to struggle through this question of, am I worthy of this task? After the first edition went out, the response was overwhelmingly kind, but it also surfaced some of my deep insecurities. A few people asked if I had obtained a Nihil Obstat, which is the official declaration that a book is free of doctrinal error. So that's standard for theological texts, but for a self-published work of storytelling, it was something that I had not anticipated. Then there was one specific review that really stung. The reviewer mistakenly thought I was criticizing Mother Teresa. In reality, I was trying to illustrate her incredible tenacity, that gritty, holy stubbornness that allowed her to continue serving the poorest of the poor in the face of adversity. But I suppose that I hadn't framed it correctly or perfectly, and it was misread. It was painful. All of these things made me realize that for many readers, there was a real valid question. Is this Catholic? It wasn't just about my research anymore. It was about authority and belonging. I realized most people don't know me. They don't know where my heart is. They don't know where this is coming from. And so I needed to bridge my personal faith and the institutional church. So the solution actually came from Father John Anthony when he said, Laurel, why don't you just ask Bishop Taylor for a foreword? And when he said it, my reaction it wasn't fear. It was like, I can do that? The thought had never crossed my mind. He had already read the first edition, so I knew that he was familiar with it. But as I pondered this question, I was just like, whoa, ask the bishop? Ask him to actually lend his voice to my work? It felt like such a huge request. And and I felt unworthy of his time. I mean, he's got so many demands on his time. So I was both worried he would say no and worried he would say yes, all at the same time. It took me weeks to get up the courage, not because I was afraid of harsh judgment, but because I wanted to treat the request with the seriousness that it deserved. But finally, I took a deep breath, wrote the email, and waited for a response. So every time my inbox chimed, my heart skipped a beat. Not because I was bracing for rejection, but because I was just so eager to see what his reaction would be to this request. In the meantime, I had reread the book, wondering if I really did do justice to these women that I had spent so much time with. And when the bishop's response finally came, it wasn't only a relief, it was an extraordinary gift. Reading his words, which you can read as the foreword of the second edition, I felt a sense of that connection that had been missing. It wasn't just my perspective anymore. It was the church affirming that, yes, these stories matter. I'm going to read you the opening of his foreword. As we celebrate the appearance of this second edition of Important Catholic Women of the 20th Century, stories of courage and fear, unassuming audacity and everyday drudgery, connected by faith, my prayer is that these pages will once again serve to illuminate the heart of Christian discipleship. These stories compiled here offer a powerful witness to sanctifying grace at work, reminding us that holiness is not reserved for grand sweeping gestures, but is most often found in the mundane, sometimes frightening realities of our daily lives. To have a shepherd of the church look at my work and see sanctifying grace in it, it was amazing, incredibly edifying. He understood exactly what I was trying to do. He didn't just see the mundane as something to get through. He saw it as the terrain where holiness grows. For a project that started in the quiet of my own doubts, having his voice join mine gave the public stamp of approval that the project had needed all along. It was the confirmation that these stories belonged to the church and that my telling them had value. This journey has taught me so much about faith and the importance of seeking validation, not from your own ego, but through the community and the leadership of the church. It's taught me that it's okay to be afraid, as long as that fear leads you to seek the truth more deeply. And so I am incredibly proud and very excited to officially announce that the second edition of Important Catholic Women of the 20th Century, complete with Bishop Taylor's beautiful foreword, is coming this fall. It is a more refined, more confident telling of these stories, and I cannot wait for you to hold it in your hands. I can't wait to hold it in my hands. I don't even have it yet, the printed version. This project isn't only about me anymore. Honestly, it never was. It's a testament to the fact that our lives, even when told by imperfect voices, are part of a much larger, much holier narrative. Stay tuned because I'll be sharing the official launch date soon and more behind the scenes looks into how this second edition has come to be. I cannot wait to share more with you. Thanks so much for being on this journey with me.